What's going on, Cowboys fans? Foots here, and draft fans, fans of the Senior Bowl, fans of the Combine, fans of the NFL Draft. For those of you who have been with me, this is my season. This is notebook season. This is write-up season. This is when I do my best work. I'm in love with the NFL Draft. I'm in love with the process. I'm in love with players. I'm in love with player growth. And the Cowboys are the team. For me, well, first of all, they're my favorite team. I was born into being a Cowboys fan. But then the most important thing that I love about the Cowboys and the thing that makes this season really fun is that this is how the Cowboys want to build their team moving forward. We heard Will McClay talk today. We've heard Stephen Jones talk and Jerry Jones. They're at the Senior Bowl. They not only love the Senior Bowl, they care about it, but they put a lot of value into the players and the workouts. You heard Will McClay talk about the intangibles and the boxes that he wants to see checked off. So I think that that's dope. And this is why this Senior Bowl standouts, I got 6 Senior Bowl standouts who fit for the Cowboys. So my theme is this. With us picking at 26, we have to be mindful that everybody is, I'm not going to say it's not worth covering all these players, but let's be honest. Carter, Bryce Young, Will Anderson, let's be real. It's not going to happen. But the beautiful thing about the Senior Bowl is these guys get to showcase who they are. I'll be honest with you. The talent at quarterback at the Senior Bowl was boo-boo. But everywhere else, you saw some things, okay? Offensive line. We've talked about receiver a lot, and this is going to be one of the narratives that I spin throughout this offseason. If you have the best interior guard staring at you at the best interior lineman staring at you at 26, do you pull the trigger? I know we want receiver. But if you have a chance to make this good offensive line outstanding, because look at Philly. Philly has an outstanding offensive line, so everybody's job is easier. If you have a chance to make this good offensive line outstanding, maybe you do it. I got 6 players who, to me, really could help this team. All right, here we go. Number 1, John Michael Schmitz, guard, center, Minnesota. Just his command, just the way he's able to stay square through blocks, just the way he finishes blocks. And it wasn't just, you just see it at the Senior Bowl, and you see it in one-on-ones. You turn on the film, and some of the gap schemes that they run in Minnesota, some of the zone schemes, the way he pulls as a center. But he had the guard flex. They lined him up at guard this week. To me, he's a guy who I do like Connor McGovern. I love Connor McGovern. I don't think that he's as good as Tyler Smith at guard, but I also am not moving Tyler Smith back to guard. Tyler Smith is your tackle. They're too hard to find. He held up well in the playoff game. He got beat. He had a holding call, but that happens. But he also held up well as a rookie. He was just outstanding as a rookie. You heard Will McClay talk about him today. If you have a chance to upgrade this O-line and some of these receivers are staring at you in the face, but then you have the best interior guard or an interior player staring at you, it's tricky. And he may be one of those guys. He's nasty. The biggest thing is he's vocal. He knows who he is as a blocker and as a player. He really stood out for me. John Michael Schmitz, Minnesota guard center, can really play. Now, number 2, this guy, for me, seeing the level of competition that he played against week in and week out in his game against Georgia, and then what he was able to do this week, Torrence from Florida, I know people are going to say his pass sets aren't great. Coach it up, because he moves people in the run game. And if you go watch the film against Jalen Carter, who Jalen Carter can really have his way against pretty much any offensive lineman he wants, he wasn't able to. It was to the point when he played against Torrence, dare I say, won a lot of reps. And so now you start talking about you have a mammoth offensive line that leans on people as the game goes on. And that's how he wants to play. He talked about it. He wants to be physical. I think that there's still an avenue for that in the NFL. We want to drop back. We want to throw the ball. Yeah, but what if we have linemen that just lean on you all game long? Not to mention, and this is very important, not to mention, look at who you're playing against in this division. Giants have a stout D-line. Redskins have a stout D-line. Commanders, whoever they are, whatever they're calling themselves these days. And Philly has an outstanding D-line. So you got to think about that and say, I like receiver, but we also got to block and keep that clean and keep our running backs, give them lanes. And I think that this guy is a player. Just go watch the Georgia tape. He can really do it, and he showed some nice things this week at the Senior Bowl. All right, number 3, and he's a fan favorite, Tank Dell. I think that what Nathaniel Tank Dell did this week was really helping himself. It really doesn't matter what he does in the game. That's cool. Now, the questions that I had was, how is he going to separate on the outside? Because what's going to happen is let's say he was drafted by the Cowboys, and the Cowboys, make no mistake about it, need another weapon at receiver. It's clear. Like the needs that Dallas has or had last year or has moving forward, they're clear. Jerry Jones said it. You don't have a glaring need that's going to kill you. But receiver, linebacker, corner, and offensive line, that's where I'm looking. But you're in a position to where the team was this good and was able to get you this far with what they had. So if you can just get an upgrade at some of those positions, you're in good shape. This kid, Tank Dell, it's almost like he's Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving out there. And I was talking to John G about this. Shout out to John G, DMV Cowboys. Dog, like the way that he plays receiver, I had questions. I said, well, okay, how is he going to look when corners try to get their hands on him? Well, they can't. And then I watched film and I watched all 22, and they really can't. He's really electric. After the catch, he's fun. But what I was impressed of was at the top of his stem, he has a plan with his route running. So, like, if he's running post corner, he's going to make sure that he stems it like it looks like a post and then boom, break it off. Like, those little nuances as a route runner were special. I think that Tank Dell is somebody that the Cowboys, he will be on their radar. And listen, he'll be sitting around in the second and third round, so you got to look at him and say, if the 40 speed checks out, this kid, Houston receiver Tank Dell, is somebody that the Cowboys, I'm sure, had eyes on and would like to pair with CeeDee Lamb. Number 3, Sidney Brown, Illinois DB. Now, this is one of my guys. That Illinois secondary was cool. Like, that Illinois defense was cool. Big Ten football. And the thing that I liked about Brown was he's almost like a running back safety build playing DB. He's a safety, but he has corner ability. Was sticky in coverage, a great tackler, physical player, physical through the catch. So, like, the thing that I like about him is he doesn't give up. Like, say a tight end has the ball in their hands. He's going to fight through the catch. I look for all those little things when you talk about DB play, the details. And I just think, like, a player like Antoine Whitfield Jr., he was one of those guys for me. He plays actually kind of like him. And so he's a guy that, hey, you don't know what's going to happen with Donovan Wilson this year. He's up. J-Ron Curse obviously is paid, but, I'm not going to say he's older, but at a point you may move on from him. If he's hanging around the third round, second round, and you have him graded a certain way. Now, our safety room is really deep, but still, just grading the player, he really stood out to me. Sidney Brown, Illinois DB, I like the way he played out. He just had a good feel. Now, this guy here, numbers, what am I on? First, you can't even count. What's going on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Darius Rush, South Carolina DB, man. Listen, everybody's going to be talking about his teammate Cam Smith, and Cam Smith he's a top of the first round guy. And I don't think that Rush is a first round DB. But what Dallas has been able to do in the second, third, fourth rounds with guys like Anthony Brown, guys like DaRon Bland. If you want to keep DaRon Bland slowly as your slot, and you say, Jordan Lewis, it's time for you to go, bye-bye. This guy put on a show, and he can play on the edge. 6'2", long, and he plays 6'2", like Tariq Woolen vibes. That's the thing that I loved about Tariq Woolen. Like, he was big, and he played that way. Like, if he got beat, he made sure that if he was tracking or trying to find a ball, he showed hands, but didn't run into you. He had good awareness. He used his length. We see Israel McQuamu do stuff like that. And we got to remember, Dan Quinn is back on this staff. Probably the best thing that could have happened in this offseason, that Dan Quinn is back. Dan Quinn likes long corners. I think it's time to turn the page on Boss Man Fat. Love you, Kelvin Joseph. Did a great job on special teams, but that ship has sailed. This is a guy in Darius Rush who, listen, He put on a show in one-on-one drills. And you got to think, these one-on-one drills are catered to the receiver. And he's out there step for step. He never panicked at the top or the beginning of stems. Like, I just really like the way that he was able to mirror. He stayed square, and then when it was time to shoot hands or when it was time to break on the ball, he never panicked. His technique was like kind of like flawless. I'm not gonna lie to you. So keep an eye on South Carolina corner Darius Darius Rush. I want to see how he runs at the combine, but keep an eye on him. And then last but not least, Deion Henley, Washington State linebacker. I just like the way he moved in space. There were a few times that I saw in traffic that he could have did better. Kind of running to the ball and filling. But in space, Dallas wants to have linebackers that can run to the ball. We don't know what's going to happen with LVE. I think this guy could come in at least third, fourth round area, but he did some nice things out there. Like in coverage, he was hard to separate from. Tight ends couldn't separate from him. Backs out the backfield couldn't separate from him, and he can run. He done his hips, like when you see the film that I put up there, his hips aren't stiff. He looks fluid. So he's another name to keep in mind. I really like Deion Henley. And to me, all of these guys came out and showed improved. Like another name that I had written down was Rashid Rice, but I already talked about him. So I was trying to get you guys hip to some new names. The Michigan State receiver had a great week. Like, to me, the Stanford receiver had a great week. To me, the Senior Bowl did exactly what it was supposed to do this year, and it's not super top heavy. So you got to dig a little bit. Ohio State tackle comes out there, he has one great day, and he leaves. Like, these are the things that you love about football, and it's like, hey, if you are able to build your stock, he said, I'm not playing in the game, I'm out of here. So, again, with all that being said, I think the Cowboys are in great shape. They do have to hit on this draft because we know what they're not going to do in free agency. They could make a big splash, but I just don't see it happening. They love to pick. They value the draft. And so the Senior Bowl is, get familiar with these names, guys, because I think that, I'm not saying that we will draft one of these names, but somebody could be coming in from the Senior Bowl. Tony Pollard, Senior Bowl. Dak Prescott, Senior Bowl. So, like, the list, Terrence Steele, Senior Bowl. Like, so the list goes on, and I think that if for nothing else, we can say that the Cowboys do a good job of evaluating players and bringing them in and to fit what Dallas likes to do. So these are all guys that make sense for what Dallas is going to want to do. Like, again, these linemen, with our new O-line coach, a lot of gap scheme, a lot of duo, a lot of double teams. I'm going to tell you right now, Schmitz and Torrence, like, that's what they do. They want to be physical. They want to duo to the backer, like all that type of stuff. These guys can come in and help you. So, it's your boy Foots. As always, thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I ran it back with the new camera. I hope y'all like it. I'll go back to the old camera, back forth. But when I'm on a fly, I want to do something quick. You got it. Peace.